Alright guys, hey, it's Aaron again with the Duke. Hey, what's going on? Today we're talking about Fantasy Football 2020, and we're going to talk today about RB0 strategy when it comes to your draft, alright? Now, first off, this is not really a strategy, it's more that you want to pursue. It's a situation that you kind of just find yourself in, okay? I want to use actual draft board to try and go through it and show you guys what could happen and who's going to be available to do that. So we're going to use this more as an example, and I think I'm going to try and use this more along the way with our all of our strategies going into drafting here pretty soon over the next couple weeks. So if anybody's got any comments or anything, let me know if you'd like seeing it more out of this visual than just somebody talking. But I want to try and give examples through an actual draft board to show what I'm talking about in the situations we're looking for in a draft. So we're going to get it started. We're going out of the 10th position in a 12 team PPR or half PPR, and we're going to see what happens when we find ourselves having to go RB0. And the reason why I picked this is because these are usually going to be the guys that kind of find themselves in that situation of possibly taking that, because we know that all these running backs are going to go off the board, and some of us are going to get stuck taking wide receivers. Okay. Now, personally, if you've watched any of my videos, I don't feel comfortable taking a Joe Mixon or a Josh Jacobs in the first round. The only person here that I think is still worthy of first-round pick is possibly Nick Chubb. And I personally kind of think that we actually found a good position of being in that. Now, one thing we want to look at is in a half PPR league, we know that there's going to be 4 picks before our next pick coming up. So we always want to try and project what these teams are going to do. I'm assuming Joe Mixon will go, and possibly a Nick Chubb in here, so there might be 2 wide receivers off the board coming in. That's my projection, but I know that out of these 3 receivers, I can probably end up with 2 of them, and I kind of feel like that might happen depending on what's going to happen with here. But let's just go with, let's just take Davante Adams, all right? We're going to take Davante Adams, assuming he's the safest player left on the board. As long as there's no injuries, we know that he's going to be Aaron Rodgers' go-to guy. He's really the only receiver on that team. And then just like we forecasted, Joe Mixon went, Nick Chubb, and then 2 receivers. Actually, they picked Kenny Golladay way ahead. Now, I don't see that happening personally in a draft. It might, though, because nobody knows what's going to happen with DeAndre Hopkins. But here we are finding ourselves in a possibility of taking DeAndre Hopkins. Now, over full athleticism as an NFL player, I think DeAndre Hopkins is far more athletic than these guys. So if you don't like any of these running backs, and this is just not a situation where you want to be drafting these guys, and you find yourself in this, I'm going to go RB0, you kind of commit yourself after this point, all right? So we're just going to take DeAndre Hopkins because we are hoping that in that Arizona Cardinal offense that Adams and Hopkins together is the safest first 2 picks that we can take off the board for our team. And now here we are, Davante Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, and the running backs just went off the board. And this is kind of why you find yourself in an RB0 situation, because we know that these first 2 or 3 rounds are going to be all running backs, and they're actually taken out of where they're projected and where they're going to finish. And that's due because everybody wants a running back. They want to try and make sure they get a running back, so everybody takes all the running backs before they should even be getting drafted. But then we find value at wide receiver left over because there hasn't been that many wide receivers. And then also when it comes to injuries, running backs are known for being far more getting injuries than wide receivers. We don't really have to worry too much at wide receiver on injuries. Now, Adam Thielen kind of does, and this is kind of a situation where I don't usually draft based off of just injury. I don't mind taking a James Conner in the right situation, even though he's had all the injury problems. Adam Thielen, I don't mind taking him if I had a running back, but the fact that we're looking at going another wide receiver, I kind of want the one that I know is going to be safe, because the first 3 rounds, we need these to be safe players. I mean, I should not have to worry this year about injury or problems or issues in that offense. And I think DJ Moore is the safer pick than Adam Thielen. And I would hate for not getting a top running back like everyone else, and then also one of my top 3 receivers getting injured. So this is really one of the only times where I'm going to take the safer pick with DJ Moore. And if you've watched any of my videos, I actually am pretty high on DJ Moore and where he's going this season. I think the Teddy Bridgewater situation is better than the quarterback play last year in Carolina, and his numbers can only go up. Now, something we needed to look at was I was worried that one of those wide receivers were going to go, and Adam Thielen did go, and then Cooper Kupp. I wanted to make sure that I got one of these receivers. Now, Mark Ingram would have been a pretty decent running back to put in this situation, but we're going to come back now, and we need a running back. I mean, we've got our 3 wide receivers, Davante Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, and DJ Moore. I mean, I am 100%, I feel completely comfortable with those 3 wide receivers. I'm not going to draft another receiver until probably the 10th round, maybe even 11th. I'm not even looking at it. I can go 100% full running back, possibly quarterback at this time. Now, the way that these quarterbacks are going, depending on your league, we start seeing quarterbacks taken off the board somewhere between the start of the 5th round and into this portion of the 6th round. So I know that coming back around, if I want to set myself off, I already know that I'm behind on running back. I'm going to be behind on running back, but I helped out in wide receiver. If I want to try and set myself apart from any of these other teams, I might need to take a jab at one of these quarterbacks that I think could finish possibly top 3. And I think Dak Prescott does have that chance this year. First off, I need a running back. It's more important than the quarterback no matter what. In this situation, I'm going to take the safest running back that I know of. I cannot gamble a James Conner. Now, like I said earlier, I don't mind drafting a James Conner if I already have running backs. But I can't gamble taking James Conner and his injury situation and him being my first running back off the board. I need to make sure I have a good, solid running back without an injury history that's possibly going to give me safe points week in, week out, and is going to be able to be there all year round. And out of all these guys, I personally feel like Melvin Gordon's the best pick there. He's going to be sharing with Phillip Lindsay with the Broncos, but, I mean, even if that situation ends up like a 60-40 split, I think there's enough there for him to get enough rushes and enough touches between the tackles. The only thing that worries me about the Broncos, really, it's not touches, and it's not even Phillip Lindsay. It's just the touchdowns. They're not a fast-paced offense. They don't score that many points. I don't think anything's really going to change this year with that. I don't think all of a sudden they're just going to come out with Drew Lock and start scoring a whole bunch. They just want to run the ball. And they're not going to go putting up 40-point games every week. And that's actually going to hurt Melvin Gordon on the touchdowns because the Chargers had that ability. The Broncos are not really that type of team. So back to our original strategy. We know that these guys went, and then this is where I was really hoping that we were going to get a chance at a Dak Prescott here. All right, so he got taken. So let's go back and look at our running backs. If there's one more that's worth taking, I would love to take Jonathan Taylor there. David Montgomery is draftable. I know, here, this is what we're going to do. I know that one of these quarterbacks are going to be there on the turn because I'm on the backside. They're not all going to go here on these teams. I need to get my other running back. So I'm going to draft David Montgomery right here and hope that no matter what happens, the Bears do better this year. Because 2 things are going to happen with the Chicago Bears this season. 1, Trubisky gets better and they play better. Or Trubisky gets benched and Nick Foles comes in and he's better. So no matter what, the situation in Chicago on the offense should be better than last year. And that should help David Montgomery. So I'm going to take David Montgomery as a possible hope that he's going to return better points this season and possibly finish a top 15 running back. Now, the situation with these running backs when we do this RB0 strategy, we want running backs not necessarily that are good picks, but ones that have a chance, a possible pathway to be a top 15, top 10 running back by the end of the season. We don't want just somebody who's safe that we can pluck in and get a couple points. So that's what we're looking for. Like I said, one of those quarterbacks went, Kyler Murray, and now we still have our options at quarterback. Now, I want somebody who can put up a lot of points at quarterback this season and can put up big numbers. Josh Allen, to me, is a safe quarterback. He is going to have the best floor out of all these quarterbacks week in and week out, but he's not going to put up 30-point games. I need somebody who can come in and put up a possible 30-point game and give me a lead because my running back situation is going to be low. I really would have liked Dak Prescott because I know that he can do that. The Deshaun Watson thing, great athlete, great quarterback. Without DeAndre Hopkins, I'm worried that he cannot put up those 30 to 40-point games as much as he was doing last season. I wouldn't put it down on him because he's a great athlete and he possibly could, but in this situation, I feel like Russell Wilson has the best opportunity of putting up a 30, 40-point game and holding my offense good and giving me a bump every week week in and week out. And along with his little rushing ability and stuff, he really doesn't have that low of a floor. It's kind of along the same thing as Josh Allen, and I feel like that's a really good pick. So we got our quarterback. We really wanted to get a quarterback in this situation. We don't want to be drafting late for quarterback and tight end and just hurting. We don't want negative on running back, quarterback, and tight end, right? We went all out on wide receiver at the beginning. We need help in other positions to help us get over this hump. And I feel like Russell Wilson is a good pick there. But from here on out, like I said, we're here in the 7th round. And, I mean, we have 3 to 4 more running backs that we're going to take off the board. I mean, that's really all we're looking for. I'm not even paying attention to wide receiver. We have our quarterback. We're not going to draft a tight end until late. We're taking chances on running back. So I like Kareem Hunt in a regular draft, all right? But, like I said earlier, we want running backs that have the potential and a pathway to be the top. Now, does Kareem Hunt have a pathway? Yes. But how does Kareem Hunt become a top 10 running back this season? Nick Chubb has to get hurt. How does Cam Akers have a chance of getting a top 10 running back this season? He just has to beat out Henderson. I mean, that's the safer pick here with the potential to be up there is Cam Akers. Now, we have no idea what that situation is, and it could end up just being a 50-50. But I feel like Kareem Hunt is a good flex play in normal leagues this season. And if Nick Chubb doesn't get hurt, then Kareem Hunt's not a top 10 running back. But Cam Akers has a chance to be a top 10 running back. And we're going to take that chance here. From here on out, all these running backs that we're looking at need to have chances to finish top 10. They need a pathway to get there. We need somebody that's going to go off. So like I said, Kareem Hunt went, that's fine. I like Jordan Howard in most leagues, but like I said, he's a safe running back. He's not going to end up top 10. He might end up top 20 running back this season, and that's definitely good value in the 8th to 10th round. But at this point, with Melvin Gordon and David Montgomery, I know that one of these guys is going to finish probably a top 20, top 15 running back, and they're going to be a safe play week in and week out. Stacked with these 3 wide receivers, DJ Moore at flex, I'm going for any possibility that these running backs that I pick from here on out are going to finish in the top. Now, I know a lot of people are going to hate this because Derrius Guice has injury history, but Derrius Guice is the top running back in Washington. If he's healthy, Adrian Peterson at this point in his career is not going to beat him out. All right, he's going to come in and he's going to take a little load off here and there so that Derrius Guice can catch his breath, but Derrius Guice is going to be the guy. The only thing that's going to stop him is injury. But Derrius Guice has a pathway. If he stays healthy all season, he could end up a top 10 running back with probably over 250, close to 300 touches this season behind that Washington team. So, like I said, from here on out, we're just taking straight running backs, and we're taking guys with upside and a possibility to finish hopefully top 10, maybe top 15. So I saw a bunch of running backs actually went off when we took Derrius Guice. I was hoping we would get a chance at some of these guys, like a Ronald Jones or J.K. Dobbins in this situation, but that's all right. I mean, I feel like these 4 running backs that we're building here are pretty good. I'm not even looking at wide receiver. I do not care. I'm not grabbing a tight end. Higbee, I'm not interested in Higbee. I may be interested in Hayden Hurst here in the next round or 2 once we get to 9 and 10, but at this point, we want full upside. Tariq Cohen does not have upside. He's not going to finish top 10. Phillip Lindsay, I'm not going to handcuff that with Melvin Gordon this season. There's no way I'm going to play them both. Tevin Coleman could. I actually like Darrell Henderson. The reason why I like doing this is because, like I said earlier, we are going for possibility. Now, normally I wouldn't handcuff players and put them together, but if we draft Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson, we have the possibility of whoever it is, it doesn't matter who it is, one of them is going to end up being that star running back for the Rams. And we might be able to lock that in this RB0 and get Darrell Henderson. Now, this might be a little bit of a reach, and I could have possibly taken a Kevin Coleman. No, there we go. We still have Tevin Coleman. Now, this is where it's going to get hard because I want Hayden Hurst, and I know we're coming up on the back end of this. I don't know if he'll still be there by the time I get to 11. We have a lot of tight ends off the board. Right now we have one tight end team, myself, and another. So 2 tight ends could go off the board by the time I come back around. Let's look at these running backs. I don't mind taking Tevin Coleman at this point because none of these guys down here really show too much more upside to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5. I want to max it out at 6. I really want to get 6 running backs. The only other person I see here that might still be there if I take Hayden Hurst now is Chase Edmonds. And I don't mind taking Chase Edmonds as a chance that something happens to Drake or that he gets the ball. Because he was actually the starting running back for a couple of weeks last season. He shows that he is capable of doing that. Let's do that. Let's lock in that tight end. We have Russell Wilson and Hayden Hurst. Now, the situation with the Falcons, they are the #1 team with the most receptions available with the loss of Austin Hooper. They have to go somewhere. Now, a lot of us see Calvin Ridley getting those receptions, but Hayden Hurst has to get something this year. And we knew, looking at this, like I said, Chase Edmonds could be available. I feel safe with Russell Wilson and Hayden Hurst, and then these running backs and these wide receivers. But I really want to lock in one more running back, and it's going to be Chase Edmonds. And I don't hope an injury on anybody this season or Kenyon Drake, but maybe somewhere down the road, Chase Edmonds gets a couple weeks in there where he's the starting running back and I can play him. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for watching.